Okay, on page 196, if you'd like to follow along. So this week, the Chovos HaLevavos is going to talk about another aspect of Habitachon, but it's going to get off on a tangent. But this is a very important tangent, because this tangent is a fundamental question of Judaism, which maybe you had in the past, and we'll try to answer it. So let's get started. Page 196. Aval, Perish HaChelek HaShishi, the sixth area where a person should have Habitachon, is concerning the reward one gets in this world and the next world. We do Mitzvos, and we do Averos. Sometimes people do Averos, I've heard. So there is reward and punishment. In fact, the fact that there's reward and punishment in the world is one of the 13 principles of faith. If a person doesn't believe in that, that means he's not part of the Jewish people. It means if he touches wine, you can't drink it. Back in the day, if you saw him walking along, you could throw him in a pit and leave him to die. Very, very bad stuff. So reward and punishment is a fundamental aspect of a Judaism. In fact, there's a rabbi, he calls himself a rabbi, who goes around on YouTube. He's very popular, and he said nowadays there's no reward and punishment because the Jewish people have suffered so much. So such a person is that's heretical to say that. So you probably shouldn't drink his wine if he touches wine. Fine. Asher yadam roilo b'maisa atov ba'olam. Hu shehagamul al shnei panim. Gemul ba'olam hazeh bilvad. Now this is different aspects of getting reward and punishment. That the reward, it could be in this world only. U'gemul ba'olam haba bilvad. It could be reward in the next world only. V'yeshi ru'uyim shneim al maisa echad. V'lo parshon be'erzeh be'hetiv. Or it could be that a person gets rewarded in this world and the next world. But he says the reward that we get is not really explained so much in the Torah. He's going to say that if you look in the Torah for things that you do wrong, very clear punishments. A person can get malchus, he can get skilas, reifa, hereg, chenek. But when it comes to a positive reward, it's not really mentioned in the Torah. So the question that he's going to deal with is, why is that? Why doesn't the Torah talk about the reward that we get? Furthermore, another question, which I think is very basic, if anyone has ever wondered this, it doesn't talk about Olam Haba in the Torah, the next world. What's up with that? So that's what let's try to discuss. But first, as an introduction, the Chovos HaLevavos clearly says here that we can get reward in this world for mitzvahs. Right? So that seems to work very nicely. There's a Mishnah that we just all said this morning. It says, Elu dvarim shadam eichel perasem elam hazeh v'keren kayam olam haba. It says that there are certain things that we do that you get the fruits in this world, and the main part of the reward, the fruits mean that you get certain reward in this world, and the main part of the reward is in the next world. And what are these? Kibbud avim, honoring parents, kindness, v'achnas zorchem, v'ashom l'chavero, Talmud Torah, keneged kulam, and learning Torah is equal to all of them. So that seems to be in line with what the Mishnah says. However, there's another Tana over there. If you look in the Gemara in Kedushin 39b, Lamed Tesman Beis, Rav Yaakov holds Shaar mitzvah b'hai alma leka. There is no such thing as reward in this world for mitzvahs. You do mitzvahs, so you came down this morning, not going to get reward in this world. It's all in the next world. Nothing in this world. It's pretty radical. So you see clearly, first of all, the Chovos HaLevavos does not hold like his opinion, this Tana. And you see he holds like the other opinion, that there is reward in this world and the next world for mitzvahs. So that's very nice. But there's a question of Rav Yaakov. How can you say that? How can you say there's no reward for mitzvahs in this world? Didn't we just read Shema? And Shema in the second paragraph, for those of you that are familiar with Shema, it says that if you follow my mitzvos, you will harvest in the proper time, you'll eat, you'll be satisfied, the rains will come at the proper time. So it's in the Torah. It says that if you follow the mitzvahs, good things will happen. So how could that be? So I want to divert a little and read the Rambam. The Rambam addresses this question. Meaning, first of all, in the end, do we paskin, that there's rewards in this world and the next world for mitzvahs. But what about Rav Yaakov? How could you possibly say that? So the reason we're going to Rav Yaakov and reading the Rambam is because through the Rambam we're going to see what's the real reward and what does it mean in the Torah. First of all, also, something that we're not going to get to this week, but the Chovos HaLevavos addresses is that's the whole reward. You do mitzvahs and you're going to have a good harvest. First of all, I'm not a farmer. Right? We do live in Alvin, so I guess there was a lot of farming here back in the day. And the best thing ever was that you could harvest a lot of grain for your for your to do well in the market. Like that's, you like work hard your whole life to do mitzvahs for that. Like that's the whole. Like why is the Torah emphasizing that? Isn't there like sublime enjoyment in Olam Haba? Right? You know that Rav Dessler says that one moment in Olam Haba is if you take all the pleasure you ever had in your life and you combine that with all the pleasure that anyone had in their life who's alive, and add that to the pleasure that anyone ever had who ever existed in this world together, that doesn't equal one moment of Olam Haba, of the enjoyment of Olam Haba for doing a mitzvah. So we have an option. The Torah decides to tell me though that if I do mitzvahs, I'm gonna be able to harvest in the right time. What's going on here? Okay, so let's read the Rambam. What is the Torah talking about when it says if you follow? This is, by the way, if you want to look it up yourself, Hilchos Tshuva, Test Aleph 9:1. V'im lo tishmeu yikra eschem kach v'kach. Right? The Torah says if you follow my laws, these good things will happen. If you don't follow my laws, these not so great things will happen. Go and what does it say? Sovei v'rav. It says you'll be satisfied, satiated v'rav, or if you don't listen to the mitzvahs, you'll be hungry. U'melchama v'shalom. It talks about war and peace. U'malchus v'shiflus v'yeshivas haaretz v'golos v'atzlachas ma'isa v'hafseda v'shakal divrei habrios. Right, it does say other thing that you'll be exiled if you don't listen to the mitzvahs. If you do listen to the mitzvahs, then you'll have peace in the land. Very nice. Okay. These things are all true. And if you do the mitzvahs, you are going to get all these good things, but these are all things in this world. And if you read the Tochacha, you read the rebukes that are said in the Torah, if you do bad things, these things will happen, but this is all things in this world. However, don't worry, these are not the end. This is not the be-all and end-all of the reward and punishment for keeping the Torah or not keeping the Torah. This is how it works. Right? So why is the Torah emphasizing? The Torah emphasizes these things. Is this the only reward that we're ever going to get? HaKadosh Baruch Hu nasan lanu Torah zu eitz chaim hi v'chol oseh kol kasaba v'yedu deya gemura nechayna zoicha ba l'chayil olam haba. Hashem gave us the Torah, which is the tree of life, and everyone who does the Torah and he establishes proper views and does what the Torah says, he will get merit the next world. And according to how many mitzvahs he does, that's how much olam haba he'll get. And the Torah promises us that if we keep the Torah with happiness and a good disposition, and we work hard in learning the Torah, tell me all the time. But the Torah says if you work hard in the Torah and you keep what it says, the Hashem will take away any impediment you have in this world from keeping the Torah, like famine, war, etc. And he will bestow upon us bountiful goodness to enable us to keep the Torah more kegon sova v'shalom v'riboy kensev v'zav, like being satisfied with what we have, with peace and wealth. So that we shouldn't be involved our whole lives with things that the body needs. We'll have free time to study Torah, to do mitzvahs, so that we should get olam haba, the next world. Now, the Rambam is saying like this: what is the whole point when it says that if you keep the Torah, you're going to be able to harvest in the proper time, there will be peace, there won't be war, you'll live in peaceful land? He said this isn't the main reward for keeping mitzvahs. All this is that if you keep the Torah, if we, the Jewish people, keeps the Torah, then Hashem will make it even easier for us to keep the Torah by providing us with the parnasa that we need, with peace. Right? Look at now, Israel's in a war, so it wasn't a war, so you couldn't really focus so much on learning Torah as much and doing mitzvos and focusing on how to better Hashem because you're so worried about saving your life. Right? If a person also is in poverty and he has to think about every moment of his life how he's going to make money, he doesn't have any time to do mitzvahs and focus on learning Torah. So what the Rambam is saying, when the Torah says all these things, that if we're good, things are going to work out in this world, that's not because that's the main reward for the mitzvah. On the contrary, that's only Hashem is making it easier for us to continue to do mitzvahs. Now the question is, well, okay, why does the Torah decide to write that as the reward? Meaning, this is true. The Rambam is saying this is not the main reward, but rather it's only a vehicle to help us achieve more mitzvos. So the question is then, why does the Torah emphasize that and not talk about Olam Haba? And that we'll have to leave to next week. So come back.